Are you tired of how divisive things have become? The constant outrage? The way it feels harder than ever to just talk to somebody who sees the world differently than you do? At some point, it just starts to feel like it's a waste of your time, your energy, and even your life. This channel is my attempt to play a part, however small, in doing something about that. To help bring down the temperature a bit and make more space for meaningful conversations and better relationships. And at the end of this video, I'm going to walk you through a quick exercise that might completely change how you approach conversations about seemingly difficult subjects. My name's Lathan, and I've had the idea for this channel for well over a decade. I've had ideas for other channels, but this is the subject that keeps coming back to me, and I feel qualified to at least give it an attempt. There are a few ground rules that I think are important, so that I don't get off track from the objective here. Rule 1, don't attack people, engage in ideas. I'm not here to belittle or talk down to anyone. I'll challenge ideas, even strongly at times, but I want to separate that from attacking the person behind the ideas or the people espousing them. Rule number 2, avoid making content that can be weaponized. I'm not trying to create gotcha content. If what I'm saying is being used to shut someone down instead of open up a conversation, then I've probably missed the mark. Rule 3, stay curious, not certain. Certainty can shut down thinking. I believe we should be open to questioning our assumptions and approaching these conversations with curiosity, instead of feeling like we need to have all the answers all the time. If I can stick to those 3 rules, and it might be hard at times, I think this can be something worthwhile. And I would love for this to grow into something that has a positive impact, because I think of this stuff nearly every day and have for most of my adult life. I get disappointed and frustrated watching people get sucked into patterns of thinking and talking about things that aren't even their own thoughts. And for a lot of people right now, their environment, namely digital, is filled with toxic thinking and toxic dialogue. The information that we take in, especially through media and social media, shapes the way that we see the world. Outrage and clickbait grab our attention. Charismatic personalities feed on our natural tribalistic tendencies, which oftentimes walks the line of cult-like thinking and behavior. These things influence the way we think and communicate without us even realizing it, which is one of the reasons why the thing I'll keep coming back to is the harm of certainty. A lot of the media that we consume encourages a kind of confidence that isn't always earned. You hear it in the way that pundits and commentators speak. Like what they're saying is absolute, even when it's clearly up for debate. And over time, that tone shapes how we talk. We start speaking like we know more than we do because it feels empowering and is a natural way of defending ourselves. When it happens, it starts to feel like critical thinking, when in reality, it's oftentimes cynicism. A lot of people confuse cynicism with critical thinking. Cynicism can lead to assuming the worst. Critical thinking looks for what's true. Cynicism jumps to conclusions. Critical thinking questions everything, even one's own assumptions. Cynicism closes doors. Critical thinking can open doors that you didn't even know existed. Cynicism usually creates rigidity and tension. Critical thinking allows space for flow and peace within and with others. Now, it's going to be hard to talk about these things without talking about politics, but my goal isn't to be political. It's to understand how we can talk about heavy subjects like politics without the hostility and vitriol for people who have a different idea of how things ought to be. We are in a particularly divided moment, and I think it's worth exploring how we got here and how we can communicate better moving forward. Much of what I think about and will discuss on this channel are things that I've learned through my own mistakes, through things that caused me or others unnecessary stress because of how I perform poorly in a conversation, where I let emotions and ideology lead over logic and compassion, where I came into a conversation without enough empathy and acted in patronizing ways even when I didn't mean to, regardless of how well-intended I was or validated I felt. And I believe with some subtle shifts in how we think about others and how we show up in the world, we can live more fulfilling, content, happy lives in harmony even with those who we disagree with. If we can inject a little more humility into our conversations, not having to be right all the time, not needing to win every argument, being comfortable with these 3 uncomfortable words, I don't know, then maybe we can bring the temperature down and maybe enjoy this one life that we get a little bit more. Now, if you're interested in seeing where this goes, then please subscribe so these videos show up in your feed when we post new ones. Now, as I promised at the beginning, I want to try something with you, and it should only take a minute or two. Okay, first, just take a breath and slow things down. Think of a topic that feels especially tense to you. Something that brings up emotions, frustration, defensiveness, when you think about discussing it with someone else that you disagree with. You probably don't have to think for long. Okay, now set aside for a moment how you feel about that subject. Ask yourself honestly, how much do I actually know about this? Not what you've heard, not what you've seen in posts or headlines, not what feels like common sense to you, but what you've taken time to truly understand. Could you explain the topic clearly to a room full of people who want to learn about it, who genuinely want to understand it? Could you answer deep and difficult questions about it without relying on recycled talking points? How would you score on a serious test about the subject without the help of ChatGPT? Now compare that level of understanding to the level of certainty that you bring to conversations about it. If there's a gap, that's okay. Most of us are carrying around more certainty than we've actually earned. What would it look like to bring just a little bit more humility into those conversations? A little more curiosity, not to weaken your perspective, but to bring your confidence into alignment with how much you actually understand. I hope that you can bring this with you next time this topic comes up. See what happens when you bring a little less certainty and a little more curiosity. More trying to understand and less trying to be understood, and less trying to make someone else understand. And just notice how the conversation feels for you and how the person you're talking to responds. Thank you for taking the time to watch the introduction to this channel. If you want to share some helpful information, an experience that you've had, or something that you would like researched and discussed and made into something that's easily consumable and hopefully fun to watch, please share it in the comments. Thank you so much.